First of all, the cost of power and cooling, the soaring costs of power is a major challenge. The second one is IT sprawl. It's the control of the deployment of IT services throughout the data center. And thirdly is being able to predict and scale technology in a programmed and methodical way. So I think those are the key challenges that are facing people at the moment. One is data centers need to be scalable. Typically they've got to be scalable upward, but theoretically they've got to be scalable downward. They've got to be cost effective. I think in the past, there's a lot of things that as an industry that were done wrong that need to be done better in future. Better use of capital, better understanding of operating costs, and so on. And I think probably the biggest challenge of all, but possibly the most important, is the realization that we're probably not a good idea to build every data center uniquely. This idea of having a standardized type of data center, there's an inevitability that we're going to go that way. It's absolutely inevitable, without question. So the flexible data center, the whole essence of the flexible data center is to take a step in that direction. It's a really important step as well, because what it does a number of things that are very important. On the face of it, it addresses the key issues that I've just mentioned. But one of the other issues that is really important is the cost of data centers. So flexible data center is going to drastically reduce the cost of data centers by about up to 50%. We're pretty sure we're going to achieve that, and we're going to achieve that doing things like leveraging our supply chain, prefabrication, and so on. But in addition to that, that's going to provide us with, will provide the industry with some pretty unique features in the sense of flexibility and scalability. Buy what you want when you need it, deploy it when you actually need to, rather than having this fixed data centers you typically have with a conventional type of data center. That's one way. And of course, we've got the pod, the performance optimized data center as well, which is a different type of scenario, but is again going along the idea of industrializing data centers, standardized data center approach. So standardization is the key message there. Critical facilities services has its roots in data center design, so that's why I think we're in a very good position to be able to develop these new strategies. I mean, design has evolved and will continue to evolve, but it's this recognition now that it's prudent, it's right now to take these designs, realize that we've actually converged on some pretty sensible sort of solutions for different types of data centers, and there are many different types of data center, and say, right, let's see if we can come up with some flavors that will suit virtually everybody, rather than designing everything on a one-off basis. Of course, bespoke, unique data centers, traditional data centers, they're not going to stop overnight. In fact, they may never stop, but I'm certain that we're going to see more and more interest and ultimately volume in industrialized data centers such as flexible data center and pod. Yeah. The important thing when you're designing a data center is this: first of all, recognize that most of the cost of the data center is typically in the operation, not in the capital expenditure. With rising energy costs, there's got to be a lot of focus now on just not on initial capital cost, but on operating cost and therefore total cost of ownership. That's a big piece of it. Certainly the operating cost is likely to exceed the capex, the initial capex in most instances. The other thing is, to be honest, anybody can design a data center. You don't need to be a genius to design a data center. You need to be good at designing data centers if you're going to have one that will survive rough treatment, in other words, utility outages and all kinds of problems, human errors, and it's going to be scalable, something that will work in a few years' time. So bottom line there is, if you're going to design a data center, find somebody that really knows what they're doing and isn't doing it as an amateur. Find some professional people that really know what they're doing.